don't want it to be a 0, but it's a 0.
Also, oh shit! Fuck!
What?
I went to go back to Google Sheet and I accidentally closed it. My dumbass. Give me a moment, Danger Noodles. Okay, so SCP Chronicles. Okay, everything's still saved. Good. Alright. So, Jiri. SCP-610 actually got updated recently. A lot more recent than I thought.
Hmm?
Because that's the next one.
I couldn't quite hear you.
Oh, I said SCP-610 got updated more recently than I thought. It got
Oh,
updated this year
interesting.
on September 30th.
Very nice.
Yeah, they have more different art now, which is really disturbing.
Well, I do think that's cool. I still think the stairwells updates were probably going to be more interesting than the ones for 610 will be, but you're the one who's the bigger fan of 610. I'm probably a bigger fan of the staircase.
Alright, so I guess you'll read the next
I
one
just
after this one.
vibe with wanting to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you'll take the next one.
You take this one.
I was just saying I said or I guess you're taking the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha. Alright, the next one is the flesh that hates. Item SCP-610. Object Class Keter. Due to the vast area of infections, SCP-610 covers containment is impossible. Isolation of the area has proved far more effective, and permission has been granted by the Russian government to establish a perimeter to keep people out of the areas due to guise of military operations. Should any organism display traits consistent with 610 be sighted near the perimeter, then the established protocol requires it to be engaged at range with small arms until immobile, then dispatched using incendiary weapons and munitions from a great distance as possible. Any living thing coming into physical contact with an organism infected with 610 is considered expendable and is immediately terminated and incinerated. Any persons coming within 3 meters of 610 infected life are to be immediately withdrawn from the area, be isolated from the rest of their team, and subjected to medical examination, using only remote techniques to determine if infection has occurred, and appropriate steps taken based on that determination. At present, the known infection factors for 610's spread seems to be focused on physical contact. Drone movements with heavily infected areas have returned air samples containing minute particulate, which, when exposed to organic compounds, will result in the spread of 610. The results of these particular tests have revealed that most require several days to manifest, if at all, with the exception of direct contact with exposed lung and liver tissue. These particular tests show a rapid rate of growth, which requires incineration of the testing environment no more than 24 hours after initial exposure, with even a 2-hour mishap risking of compromised facility event. Given that this kind of rapid growth only occurs in organic material existing outside the human body, this form of infection is currently considered a minor concern. These peculiarities have given rise to a series of questions regarding the possible origin of the infection in conjunction with the failed data expunged. Containment protocol remains at a scorched earth policy at this time, and no concern for transmission via water or air at infection perimeters exists, bearing situational changes in the field. Yeah. Description. Initial reports of SCP-610 came direct from the Russian government through undisclosable channels. These reports consisted primarily of disappearances of farmers in the region and were not considered until the local police, followed by the regional police, and finally a governmental dispatched agent, all failed to report within a 72-hour period. A small military contingent was dispatched to the area and quickly withdrew, at which point the Foundation was contacted to investigate. The area of 610 effects is close to Lake Baikal in southern Siberia. Areas of known infection are marked on a map provided to us here. Oh, cool, they included a map this time. That's cool.
That is very cool.
Oh, I guess we get to see the infection areas.
Oh.
That is actually really cool.
That is cool, but also terrifying. That is not a small amount of area.
Yeah, it really isn't. So I'm guessing it got worse.
Yeah. It's like, we cannot destroy this, so we isolate it, and then it's like, no, I get out.
Yeah. Containment perimeters are marked in blue surrounding these disinfection areas, and as of present, no further locations have been identified. Incursions into the perimeter must be reported prior to conducting, confirmed during exploration, and debriefed on immediately following return. SCP-610 appears to be a contagious skin disease, at first with symptoms including rash, itching, and increased skin sensitivity. Within 3 hours, the disease will cause blemishes resembling heavy scar tissue to form in the chest and arm areas, spreading to the legs and back within an additional hour, consuming the victim completely within 5 hours. Exposure to higher temperatures vastly decreases the time for the contagion to spread, and complete infections have been recorded, occurring in as little as 5 minutes. After the completion of the infection occurs, the victim's life functions will cease for approximately 3 minutes, after which time they will restart at 2 to 3 times the activity rate of a normal human. Following this, the scar tissues on the victims will start to move of its own accord and grow at a rapid rate. Normal human features start to disappear at this point. Under the infection, and the path of mutation appears to be largely random. Subjects observed in this stage of infection have been recorded as growing 3 or more limbs of a type such as arms or legs. The head may become misshapen or elongated or whited out. A person subject may split open, from which additional branches of flesh will grow. The duration of this stage of infection is unknown, and not all subjects appear to progress to the later stages. Under unknown conditions, an infected individual will cease moving and place itself in a location it deems suitable, where it roots itself. The fleshly grown on the victim will then begin to spread itself across the surrounding areas and consume them. Such objects do not spread the infection as living creatures do. However, the effect of prolonged contact with these objects is recorded later in this document. It is assumed that this behavior is to create an area hospitable to continued growth of the other infected. Okay, yeah, it already got worse.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Observation of life infected by 610 by staff is impossible. Those infected with the disease immediately seek out aid as natural human impulse, resulting in unintended infections. Those infected past the scar tissue phase actively and aggressively attempt to infect anyone approaching them within an unidentified area. It has been established that should an infected be capable of sight and observed and an uninfected, it will proceed toward them. If the infected has lost the ability of sight, a range of approximately 30 meters is considered safe. You have to be 30 meters away, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Observation of 610 infected settlements have been established using artificial methods such as remote robots. The data returned from these observations, coupled with the openly aggressive nature of the infected to attempt to spread 610, has resulted in the Keter classification. However, so long as nothing is allowed to enter or leave the infected areas, It is considered to be a neutralized threat. Of concern are cavernous areas beneath the infected settlements that were discovered during exploration, and attempts to research personnel into these areas are underway. It went underground, Jiri.
Are you even shocked?
Nope. I'm guessing that's why they root themselves.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we got L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. And there was an L6, but it's that expunged. Alright. Anyway, SCP-610 L1 is a small remote-controlled rover is sent to Site A to locate missing personnel. Uh-oh. That does not sound good.
I don't think they're seeing them again.
Yep. Alright. After establishing a containment perimeter for SCP-610, the Russian government approved a request to research and investigate the area. For the first such exploration, a small camera-mounted unit known as Herbie was dispatched at a safe distance and directed towards Site A. Herbie was a battery life of 12 hours and a controlled range far wider than that required for this dispatch. Herbie is able to enter Site A without incident. The landscape around Site A shows early stages of assimilation by singular SCP-610 infected who have fallen to at largely random intervals around what remains of the village. Many of the homes appear to have suffered fire damage, long since put out. However, a fair amount remain intact. Aerial reconnaissance of Site A combined with thermal imaging has put it at an estimated population of 79 infected. Immobile infected are included in this number. However, it is difficult to ascertain an exact percentage of mobile versus immobile. Varying degrees of physical mutation due to 610 are present in Site A, and it is assumed that all the inhabitants are in advanced stages of infection. Herbie observed the exterior of the village for 2 hours, during which time all infected behave with what appeared to be a loose sense of social structure. Because Herbie remained stationary during the observation period, it is unknown precisely what each individual infected person was doing. However, the central plaza experienced occasional bursts of activity and downtime. Requiring more information, Herbie was directed to follow an infected as it entered a home. There is bumpy camera feed as Herbie scoots over to the gravel behind quickly shambling infected person. The interior of this home is the same as that attached to the primary file for 610. The infected being tailed is one sitting at the table. After entering the home, Herbie's camera was raised slowly as to not draw attention. This action was either unnoticed or ignored. The infected person is watched from the doorway as it hobbles around the home and stops at each of the other visible infected organisms. However, it appears to ignore the one under the table, which, while not immobile, does not leave the area. What this creature was before infection is unclear. After lapping the table and repeating this procedure 3 times, the primary infected person, known as Alpha, henceforward stops at the bedridden infected, known as Beta, and proceeds to assault it with furious punches. Beta is unable to leave its bed for unknown reasons, but is not completely immobile as it flails its arms in response to the beatings delivered by Alpha. After several sustained minutes of this beating, a piercing sound explodes from the area around Beta, who then proceeds to project a cloud of unknown matter into the air from his chest cavity. Alpha lingers in the cloud as it floats in the air around him, slowly descending to the ground. The unknown life form on the table aside Beta begins to twitch in an apparent seizure, and Alpha then laps the room twice more, stopping again at each infected organism but still ignoring the one under the table, as well as Beta now. After these 2 laps, Alpha seats itself at the table and reaches out to position the 3 plates atop it, as if setting it at a dinner set. After the plates are positioned and the facial tendrils extending from Alpha wiggle up and start to coil on one of these plates before tearing apart and separating. This is repeated at each plate. An image attached to 610's primary file is a still image of this occurrence. After each plate is filled with Alpha's flesh, it leaves the table and approaches Herbie, which is moved from Alpha's path. Alpha leaves the home, but Herbie's camera remains focused on the table. After several minutes, a group of comprised of 6 to 7 infected enter the room from outside, still ignoring Herbie. Each infected shambles as it moves, if movement is difficult, jerking in large steps of squirming in small ones. These infected all surround the table and each take turns grabbing handfuls of the flesh substance left behind by Alpha, pressuring it into whatever orifices on themselves that they can. Some into mouth, some into the chest, some behind their backs, some under their arms. While all plates are empty, this group leaves. Herbie remains here for several more minutes before retracting its camera and leaving. Immediately after leaving the home, Herbie collides with an object, panning the camera around. The obstruction appears to be Alpha, whose facial tendrils are intermingling with another infected, having similar mutations. The impact is ignored and the two infected part ways after several minutes. Herbie is then directed to explore more areas of the village. The remains of what appears to have been a store show signs of severe fire damage as well as activity inside the building. When Herbie moves to investigate, the door is slightly ajar. And with further moments of Herbie, it is pushed open. No notice is taken of this action, or it is ignored. Inside the store are several infected persons, most of whom are standing around. However, one is on the ground, rolling back and forth over the space of approximately 0.3 meters, and is ignored by the others. Herbie rolls under the divider, separating the cashier area from the customer area, and pans around behind the counter. The upper half of a person is protruding from the cellar door. Behind the counter, this person does not appear to be suffering from advanced infection, and wears the garb of a Russian soldier. Herbie zooms the camera in to confirm identification, and it is noted that the eyes of the person are in constant movement while focusing on Herbie. The rest of the soldier does not move. Herbie is directed to leave this area and proceeds to the back room. In the storage area, a large pile of bodies are stacked together. Some pieces of clothing are visible and appear to contain both military garb and everyday clothing. No facial features are discernible on any of the bodies due to the way that they are stacked. Atop of the bodies, an infected sits, appearing to have its lower parts fused to the pile, and with its upper half in a wily state of flaming and seizure. Approximately every 10 seconds, a burst of spores flies out from the top of this infected, which linger in the air. Herbie is directed to leave the building. After leaving this building, Herbie passes by the village well, surrounding which are a series of immobile infected, all facing the well. The arms of each of these infected persons are stretched out, one in contact with the next, forming a perfect chain, save for one whose arms are down at its sides. Herbie passes by the last infected to approach what appears to have been a town hall or mayor's building, when the infected becomes mobile and snatches the rover up. A video feed from Herbie focuses on the face of the infected, which is strangely in perfect shape given the condition of the rest of its body, which is horribly bloated. This infected was once a young girl from appearance, age estimated 10 to 12. Herbie is rolled side to side in its grip as its face stares motionless at the rover. The infected's face suddenly balloons in size and explodes outward in a series of fleshy flaps that grip Herbie and draw it inside. Herbie's video feed terminates here. Herbie was considered lost at this point, however, no one at the control remembered to turn off the video feed, assuming it cut. 5 hours later, Herbie's video feed resumed, stationary and at a raised level, pointing at an upper rim of the village well. The video feed contains some blur due to what appears to be a slimy film, which often oozes across the lens. When not obscured, it provides perfect quality of recording. Herbie does not respond to any remote commands, but its video jerks back and forth from the target to target, zooming in and out of its own accord. Video feed is cut manually, and all connections to Herbie's unit are ordered erased. Well, damn. Well, we know what happened to the Russian people.
Dead.
Yeah. Oh, wow, this next one is fucked. 610-L2, an infected Class D personnel is sent into Site C with video equipment. Alright. During construction of the perimeter surrounding 610's containment area, several Class D personnel were infected due to assaults from infected villagers or animals roaming the area, in addition to a number of infections as a result of escape attempts and careless behavior. Most of these infected personnel were immediately destroyed with flamethrowers. However, a small collection of infected were contained in cold storage units, which prolonged the inevitable progression of 610's mutative properties. Okay, so cold weather can stop it, which means it would have very trouble being in North Pole or South Pole.
Technically, it's probably already in a cold area. It's already grown that much. Imagine how it's grown Florida.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus, it would spread like wildfire.
Yeah, now it's clicking.
Yeah. The decision was made to utilize some of these infected personnel as video relays and dispatch them into nearby sites. Due to concern over the lost equipment, as evidenced in 610-L1, all 3 subjects that were used in this manner were sent in with a single video system to Site C. Additional equipment issued for this dispatch include 1-gallon container of gasoline, 3 emergency flares, 3 9mm pistols with 3 magazines of ammo each, 3 single-serving food rations. The infected personnel were instructed to observe and avoid interaction with the infected villagers as long as possible, but should a situation arise where they are met with aggression or feel that they are losing themselves to 610's influence, they are free to kill as many infected villagers as they so choose and do as much damage to infected objects and property as possible while maintaining video feed. The intent of this order was to provide data of 610 infected communities in a raid situation so a plan of eradication could be better established. At the time of expedition, Site C was suspected to be a possible origin point for 610, having far fewer mobile infected than other sites, as well as structures which appear to have been layered over several times with the terraforming effects of the immobile infected. Dispatch Class D personnel, known henceforth as DI-1, DI-2, and DI-3, were directed to pay particular attention to anything that could be considered an origin point for 610. The trek from our perimeter camp to Site C was uneventful. There is no evidence of any native animal life in the area. As Site C is approached, there's a noticeable rise in the temperature within the last 30 meters of the trip that necessitates removal of the heavy, cold-based coverings that were provided. Temperature rises again sharply at the entrance of Site C proper, which requires a further shedding of garments for a fear of heat stroke. Site C is considered to be heavily humid and around 32 degrees Celsius or 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, well that's terrifying. One of the first immediately noticed traits about Site C is an array of immobile pylons which encircle what is believed to be an entirety of the site. separated by an apparent distance of 5 to 6 meters. Each pylon appears to be 2 to 4 infected persons fused together in one spot. On some of these pylons, features such as faces or anuses are still visible, in addition to several other holes which do not naturally occur, all appearing to act as heat vents. Where the heat is generated is unknown. Current belief is that this is an advanced stage of 610 terraforming its environment to facilitate spread of itself. Okay, now that is even more terrifying. I guess it could go to the North Pole and South Pole then. Anyways, DI-2, who is the furthest along in the progression of 610, with a 3 by the number of hours, begins the seizure after only a few minutes in Site C during examination of the pylons. Progression to the scar tissue phase of 610 infection is observed in full course as DI-2 spasms on the ground, his entire body being overtaken by the sickly tanned flesh almost entirely after 45 seconds. DI-2 is terminated by a gunshot from DI-1 and his equipment left where it is. The spread of 610 over DI-2 continues even after death of the body until all movement ceases. As perimeter control is relaying new instructions to DI-1 and DI-3 regarding the situation, there is a shift in the ground covering in Site C where DI-2's body is. Video feed shows the flesh-like growth splitting open beneath his body and a series of ropey tendrils coming from within the gap to pull his corpse inside. This opening closes up quickly. Total time elapsed 3 seconds. As DI-1 and DI-3 decide to act quickly in these hotter temperatures, fearing the same fate, they proceed to the village center and encountered another previously unknown phenomenon. In a precise center of town, rising above what was the community well, is a sphere suspended by angled supports composed of 610 flesh. This ball is riddled with the features of humans at early stages of 610 infection, as well as a good number of assumed to be in later stages. A number of specimens of non-human life forms, such as deer and bears, are also visible within the mass. The entire sphere of the flesh pulses at roughly a 5-second interval, and with each pulse emits a ring of spore-like material from its equator. This material floats to the ground and appears to be absorbed into the converted environment. DI-3 begins to douse the sphere with the provided gasoline, and when questioned by the panicking DI-1, explains this looks like a good thing to burn as any. At this point, the perimeter control has ceased giving commands due to the rapid deterioration of events. There is no reaction from anything within Site C to any of this activity until the precise moment at which a lit emergency flare is applied to the spherical mass, which immediately goes up in flames. The remote feed plays back a noise from an unknown location that seems to come from a location far outside of Site C, but was reported as being heard even at the perimeter control by both Sites C and A. The noise is described as both explosives, as if multiple high-yield charges were detonated on the mountainside, and alive, like a large feral creature roaring. Within 15 seconds following the sounds, Deception Site A reported that a series of explosions had occurred within the village. 5 seconds after this report, the spherical mass in the middle of Site C explodes. DI-1 and DI-3 are thrown by the blast. DI-3 is confirmed deceased by DI-1. After regaining his footing, having suffered injury from the stone shrapnel from the well, DI-1 is able to report he has bruises and ringing ears, but aside from the rapidly spreading 610 infection, he suffered no blast damage. During this recording of footage, DI-1 has had his video equipment removed and was looking into it. Due to the angle of the recording, it is unknown precisely what occurred in Site C, but something draws DI-1's attention back to the center of town, where he stares for several moments, then is pulled in the opposite direction. Video equipment falling to the ground and recording in a skyward direction. Last moments of footage from DR1's video unit display a humanoid figure moving through the air, followed by the sound of an impact in the same direction. Within 3 seconds at this event, an unknown creature steps upon a recording video equipment and destroys it. Perimeter control remained on high alert for a full 24 hours at all locations without any incident following this event. Alright. Okay, so it's gotten more terrifying because I think when I first read it, it only affected humans. So now it affects any life.
It's gotten more terrifying. It's gotten more intelligent.
Yeah. Alright. Next one is 610-L3. Initial discovery of tunnel entrances at Site A. The destruction caused by the rapid collapse of the Site C exploration attempt during 610L2 resulted in a series of unexpected events in Site A. At this strange spherical formation in Site C was burned and destroyed. The 610 infected inhabiting Site A were recorded by aerial drones going into seizures and convulsions. The immobile 610 infected rapidly shriveled and died along with all of the flesh material spread across inanimate objects within the village. The mobile 610 infected, who were able to regain their footing, all proceeded to what appears to have formerly been an upper-class residence and entered the building. As the infected entered this dwelling, it suffered a foundational collapse, revealing the presence of a sinkhole beneath it. The size of the hole in relation to the structure above it posed an impossibility for an entire building to collapse, suggesting something within the hole applied force directly to the structure within the attempt to pull it inside and expose the hole. The revealed hole is approximately large enough to accommodate 3 grown men standing shoulder to shoulder. Light sources supplied by remote drones failed to penetrate further than 4 meters depth into the hole. Objects dropped in the hole do not produce an impact sound, suggesting a bottom potentially more than 1,000 meters down. Research of the exterior of the Site A hole was only able to be carried out for 2 hours' time. Samples of the atmosphere in Site A indicated a complete death of 610. Related materials, all infectious life that did not evacuate into the hole, died above ground quickly, became shriveled husks. Manned exploration of Site A was approved and commenced immediately. In a span of 30 minutes, a total of 3 research teams consisting of 2 to 3 research staff and 4 to 5 armed escort each were dispatched and setting up stations within the remains of the village. Samples of the C610 infected and converted matter were sent back to Perimeter HQ for processing and transport. One team was able to recover a small sample of still living 610 tissue substance from a building and pack it up for research. Within the second hour exploration of Site A, a series of echoed reverberated units were set up surrounding the hole with an attempt of getting an accurate mapping of the whole possible branch tunnels. At the end of this second hour, before the echo units could be activated, seismic activity began to occur within Site A. 2 teams of the original 3 remained on site. The third en route back to Perimeter HQ with samples. Their team was instructed to proceed back to Perimeter HQ when seismic activity began and was told that Site A should not be returned to for assistance. Seismic activity at Site 8 capped at 2.3 Richter level before tearing off. Immediately following the seismic event, a torrent of 610 spores erupted from the hole and layered the area around it for a span of 50 meters. As all staff on site were in Level A hazardous material suits, this spore burst were startling but did not lead to any infections. As the eruption was being reported, both teams at Site A came under attack from aerial life forms infected with 610. These organisms were captured by the remote drone video equipment and showed extremely advanced stages of infection. It is possible to tell that they mutated from this present state, Many of the avian creatures attacked by splitting their heads in half and clamping them against research members, pulling them into the air and dropping them into the hole when possible. These avian infected proved vulnerable to small arms fire, and dispatching them, a total of 2 research staff were lost to the hole and 1 injured due to crossfire. The injured staff was put down immediately upon showing signs of infection due to his suit breach. Before video...
I'll be right back.
Okay. Before video and radio contact was lost with the remaining teams of Site A second seismic event began to occur, starting out at a 1 to 1.5 range in scale. Attention was directed at the hole to prepare for a second assault. A second spore burst erupted from the hole during the rising seismic activity, at the point which scales registered a 3.5 in force. A new unseen 610 entity began to emerge from the hole. The only footage captured of this creature depicts an engorged human head, approximately 20 times larger than normal, pressing itself out of the hole with no discernible body. The video and radio contact were lost as seismic forces increased to 7 on the scale for 2 seconds duration, then abruptly ceased. Further aerial surveillance of the Site A hole and area depicts 0 activity and no traces of the research teams or their ever having been there. All personnel and equipment are considered lost. Well, rip them. Alright, 610-L4. Unmanned exploration of the Site 8 tunnels. Events regarding the discovery, research, and handling of 610 rapidly degraded to a point where fail-safe options were being considered for over 1 hour. Noting further had happened at Site A following the loss of the research teams during the seismic events in 610-L3, and subsequent contact with previously unseen 610 life forms. With the absence of activity at Site A, a remote drone dispatch was authorized in 2 parts. The first part would drop a remote relay device at the entrance to the Site A sinkhole, and the second part would dispatch a drone into the hole directly to relay its data to the remote relay for transmissions back to HQ. Drones on site were powered by solar energy, with the battery maintaining a 4-hour charge. Attached is a video log recovered from Site A sinkhole drone before its loss. Video feed activates. Researcher's face is seen looking into the camera, applying a polishing cloth to lens. As its exploration of the drone are SCP-610-1 coming online. Systems check out. The video confirmed the feed is going to relay station. We are testing notice now and deploying if successful. Sound helicopter blade starts up as the video feed begins to lift in the air. Camera tilts left and right to test pan features, then directs itself towards the Site A sinkhole. Video feed is go. Engines all go. Links are green. Alright, sending the drone down now. Audio from the outside world fades away as camera angles itself down and peers into the darkness within the sinkhole. After approximately 2 minutes after descent, lights on the drone activate and illuminate a roughly dug shaft. Initially, it is unclear what could have created the hole, but at a glance, it would appear the shaft was created at a single event rather than dug over time. At 15-meter descent, there are traces of 610 material attached to the dirt and stuck to rocks. The material is dormant but retains its texture and appearance, unlike samples from the above ground level, which shrivel and dry rapidly. There is a possible connection that this material and the events last recorded during 610-L3 descent continues. At 100 meters in depth, branch tails become visible in the walls of the sinkhole. Panning of the camera reveals small tunnels branching out at apparent random intervals, but which are not restricted to any one side of the hole. These tunnels are considered too small for any useful exploration to occur. Descent continues. Increased density of 610 materials on walls is noted as depth increases. At 250 meters, the bottom of the sinkhole becomes visible and the tunnel slopes sharply, suggesting a natural formation, which has already been suspected. Drone video shifts to illuminate this tunnel, and drone proceeds forward through the area. 610 coats the entirety of the tunnel now, and care is taken to keep the drone from coming in contact with any surface. Movement is detected 5 meters ahead, lights on the drone are dimmed, and weapons come online. The SCP-610 drone is equipped with a 5.5mm machine gun, consisting 50 rounds of ammo. This is meant to be used to deter wildlife away from the drone and defend against aggression when possible, rather than to dispatch a target, although it is fully capable of handling human aggressors in small groups. Camera focus turns to the moving mass of flesh ahead at 3 meters. After focus clears, the movement appears to be coming from what appears to be a deer, uninfected, wriggling in the grips of tendrils composed of 610 material. The deer is being suspended above the ground with unclear intent. The drone is moved past the trapped deer while holding it in view of the camera until safely away. Nothing occurs with the deer, and the drone proceeds past undisturbed. The briefly fairly level ground of the tunnel displays large humps and apparently random placement 5 meters ahead of the drone, 30 meters past the encountered deer. Upon approach of these lumps turns out to be similar to the infected villagers who escaped from Site A into the sinkhole after the destruction of Site C. The sound of rushing water is now detected and the drone is pushing forward. 100 meters further into the tunnel, the sound of running water is now deafening. Drone lights reveal a running stream of water, potentially from one of the adjacent rivers in the area. A sample file is placed in the water, allowed to collect, and then released with an active tracking beacon. Later recovery of the sample indicates no 610 contamination of groundwater. The tunnel splits in two at this point. One tunnel leads around the river and then seems to slope downward, while the other is directly above a light source in the ceiling. The second one is selected to facilitate recovery of the drone. During adjustment of the drone's flight path, it comes in contact with a portion of the tunnel wall coated with 610, causing a deep gash from the propeller of the drone, which is already healing over. The camera focuses on the impact point. The drone proceeds upwards. 300 meters of upwards tunnel travel, taking approximately 45 minutes, results in the drone emerging into a widely section of mountain, where it is directed to stay low. Camera panning of the area reveals what may have once been a village, long since abandoned. The precise location is unclear, but it is assumed to be the vicinity of Site B, judging from estimates and travel by the drone. The buildings here are coated in deceased layers of 610, and unlike other buildings in Site A and Site C, which are coated in 610, these buildings appear to be constructed directly from the tissue substance. After a cursory scan of Site B, it is determined there is no life here, either natural or 610 related, so the drone is directed back into the tunnel as the winds around the area make aerial recovery impossible. Upon descent into the tunnel, a deep roaring sound fills the audio and video feed becomes choppy as something blocks the signal. During the periods in which connection to the drone is clearest, its camera and weapon are angled downward and propellers is slow in speed to allow faster drop. Video feed becomes entirely clear for the final 2 minutes before feed is lost. Rushing up towards the drone from the area below is what appears to be a large human face, stretched to 20 times in proportions, with no features save those created by the 610 material. There are eye sockets but no eyes, a mouth but no teeth. The drone fires upon this rushing mass of 610, but the bullets do not deter it, impact points remaining visible for several seconds before closing over themselves. There's no room in the tunnel for the drone to take evasive action, and is swallowed by the mass. Our SCP-610 is considered lost until 3 hours later when feed inexplicably returns. Video feed from the drone appears to show a series of structures illuminated by one of the 2 lights on the drone. The camera pans around without instructions from the remote relays or HQ, capturing a vast number of shambling entities within the area. 610 material moves over the lens of the drone, and video feed is permanently severed. Okay, so the creatures are getting bigger.
And more intelligent.
So, seeing the bold part at the bottom of L5, I'm thinking something really bad happened.
Well, let's find out, I guess.
Yep, 610 L5, the manned exploration of the Site 8 tunnels. Approval from Central HQ was granted for a manned assault excursion into the tunnels beneath Site A to try to ascertain the extent of the 610 infection. The instruction of Site A and Site C have established 610 can be contained and destroyed, making the source of the infection top priority. The initial descent into the tunnels consists of 5 teams, 2 research and 3 assault, along with enough equipment to establish an underground base of operations. Descent into the tunnels was established using employee systems and a lift to move equipment. Assault teams were the first to descend, armed with flame units to clean 610 out of the area. All teams were able to descend without incident, and flame units took point, providing an undisturbed journey toward the water source where our SCP-610 drone was lost. Base camp for underground 610 operations resides at the bottom of the 3-way junction. 4 of the water flow is included. The first pathway is that which led from Site A to Cavern HQ. The second is a pathway to the ruined village, residing in the mountains above where our SCP-610 was destroyed by a large unknown 610 entity. The third pathway heads west and seems to follow the flow of water for an unknown distance. The cavern area here is quite large and is supported by a number of rock formations that are coated with the K610 material. The state of this material suggests great age and appears to reinforce the structural supports. Whether this is intentional or coincidental is unknown. 2 research teams split activities during building Cavern HQ and collecting samples of 610 in various states. No contagious materials were detected within this area, and the creature recorded by unmanned drones did not appear at any point to the cavern staff. Of the 4 research teams, 3 were ordered to proceed down the unexplored pathway, while an aerial drone was prepped for a second recon of the vertical shaft. 610 infection did not appear in the third pathway until approximately 3 kilometers, and serious infection did not appear until 16 kilometers in. Even after the lengths traveled by the assault teams, no 610 infectious life forms were encountered, in this fleshy material coating the cavern walls posed no threat to the team. The most significant reports at this time were the increasing thickness of material, suggesting a source and complete lack of 610 contamination in the water. As a test, a sample of 610 was cut away from the cavern wall and placed in the flow of water. It exhibited no unusual reactions, but was quickly swept away by the current. At 20 kilometers in, the leader of the assault teams requested a transport buggy be dispatched to them. One was available at the above ground HQ. However, it would take time to move it to Cavern HQ and then remote drive it to the teams. Rations provided to the assault teams were sufficient, so a camp was established while the buggy was moved and readied. During this time, an aerial drone was also sent to explore the vertical shaft. Results of exploration was placed on hold with the arrival of the buggy at Cavern HQ, and ultimately concluded and document data expunged. The buggy was navigated to the assault team encampment with no events en route. However, upon arrival and preparation to continue exploration, assault teams came under attack by a number of large 610 infected life forms that emerged from the area ahead of them. Video recovered from the assault team camera showed them caught off guard as the 610 infected made no sound and were undetectable. On one film from 1 to 2 seconds, it appears that some of the creatures are coming out of the 610 materials on the wall, not emerging from them so much as being created by the material and then breaking away to act independently. During this assault, in an attempt to protect the buggy, redacted members were lost to the water currents, and contact with them was lost. Contact was regained, however, it is recorded in 610-L6. The remainder of the assault team now consisted of 3 members armed with a single flame unit. Use of this unit to repel the assault provide vital as standard firearms did minimal damage to infected creatures. These infected creatures show minimal traits to associate them with any known form of life in the region, giving rise to believe they may have been spawned by the 610 infection itself as a form of defense. No further casualties were suffered during the raid, and the remaining members managed to eliminate all attacking infected, allowing them to continue with exploration with added orders to attempt to locate lost team members. A further 20 kilometers into the tunnel, the river separated from the tunnel pathway, and the team was instructed to abandon the recovery order, given the inability to navigate the water safely. A total time of redacted passed before the remaining assault team reached an end in the tunnel. At the perimeter of the area now known as Site B, the team came under assault again from a smaller number of 610 that were much larger in size. These infected appeared in the tunnel as if they were lying in wait for the approaching team. These creatures were dispatched using the flame unit, although all fuel for the unit was expended in this act. The assault team was now limited to standard weapons and short-range personal flame units. A time lapse of 5 minutes is allowed to pass before the team proceeds further into Site B, cautious of further assaults by 610 infected. The tunnel widens out into what appears to have once been a village of an indeterminate age. The construction of the buildings in this area are primitive compared to the settlements at Site A and Site C, and are of clearly human construction. Many buildings rest at angles or slants, suggesting that they were disturbed by a cave-in. Of interest is a building that appears to be a church with a working clock tower. This building is built on top of the remains of the 2 older buildings that have fallen completely and has visibly stable foundation. Surrounding all structures in this area is a depression in the ground filled with a substance resembling a liquefied form of 610 fleshy materials. The pool moves as if acted upon by minute and unseen forces, rippling outward from invisible contact points, and rolling in waves from unfelt winds. The team avoids this pool at all times and proceeds through the ruins slowly, on stable foundations where possible, making the church their target area. Within the church are pews, as would be expected. However, there are only 4, one of them shattered, when the building could accommodate as many as 20. The 3 intact pews are arranged in a 2 in a 21 formation and facing a pulpit. There's no trace of dust on any surface. The entire area appearing to be immaculately clean, given the location and believed age. Behind the pulpit is a hole in the floor exposing an area of the 610 pool beneath the building. The church in ruins appear to be uninhabited, and exploration of the church proper is uneventful until the clock tower bell tolls. As tolling triggers a shutter in the building, followed by human screams from the ceiling. Lights shone above the ceiling reveal a large mass of 610, from which descend a series of 6 wooden circles. Strapped to each circle is a living human, coated entirely from neck to toe in 610, but having an exposed head, which appears uninfected. These human captives scream as the bell continues to toll and the circles move to the ground. The team begins to move towards one to investigate when an unknown creature cries from outside the building, prompting them to take cover in the shadows near the pulpit. Light sources are extinguished, pitching the entire area into darkness. Night vision is left off to avoid revealing the team's location. Sounds continue to emit from the outside of the church, drawing closer but lower than the frantic screams of the captive humans. At least one noticed the team as the captive humans often call out to be saved. When the entrance to the church, a candle lights on the side of the doorway, then one on the other side. A figure is seen holding a small torch and moving back and forth between a series of candles to light the doorway. The flame is then applied to a rope coated in 610, which quickly ignites and spreads up to a particular chandelier system at the church entrance. The light from the system illuminates most of the crosses but does not reach the team's hiding place. Those captives who appear in the light do not show standard signs of the beige-colored 610 infection, but instead are wrapped in a red variant of it, which shows signs of constant motion, rippling across itself in waves. From outside the church, a flood of 610 infected shamble quickly into the area, ignoring the man who lit the candles and stands in the middle of the room. They proceed to the captives on the wooden circles and begin to pull at the red 610 masses, resulting in further screams and cries. From what can be gathered from the return video feed, the red 610 seems to be connected to the captives and is using them as a source of sustenance that it then uses to grow and feed the normal 610 infected. Overly zealous infected tear at the red mass too hard, which results in pulling skin and tissue from the human captive beneath. This exposed area is quickly covered by the red mass, which then grows in size. Feeding like this continues for approximately 6 minutes, at which time the candle-bearing figure sounds a gong and all infected entities move to pews. There are several more creatures than seats, but none move past the frontmost pews. The figure who surrounded the gong does not move, spontaneously collapsing as if made from hollow clay. From the pulpit area, activity is noticed as a pillar of 610 flesh rises through the hole and extends directly itself toward the gathered creatures. No sound is heard and no motion is recorded once the pillar stops moving. This silent period persists for 10 minutes without even the human captives making a sound, having fallen silent at an unknown point. The pillar of 610 retracts itself into the hole it emerged from without any warning, prompting the departure of the infected from the building. The candles remain lit and the team emerges after all infected appear to leave the area. The descended captives remain at ground level as well, all screaming seeming to have ceased, but still showing signs of life with heavy breathing and movement. Upon departure from the church, camera feeds from all 3 members became erratic. Camera 1 ceases transmitting completely. Camera 2 shoots straight up into the air for several meters. Camera 3 captures a member, with Camera 2 being flung by a tendril that emerges out of the ground itself, swinging them out of sight onto the other side of the ruins. Camera 1's feed is restored and displays Camera 3's owner running briefly in the direction of the lost team member, only to turn and run back as 610 infected pour from between buildings. Combat ensues between two members and onrushing infected, using assault rifles and personal flame units, successfully driving back enough of the horde to make an escape towards the buggy. Passing by a building, Camera 1's owner is ambushed by a figure resembling the figure who is in the church, lighting candles, wielding a large cropped scythe. Camera 3's owner continues without pause toward the buggy location. However, the buggy is found half absorbed by the 610 mass, covering the floor, while turning to find another way to escape. Camera 3's owner turns to find the same figure with the scythe approaching, weapon raised. 2 shots are fired and the camera feed ends. 5 hours later, when the final decisions were underway to decide how to contain or eradicate the 610 threat, time delayed video feed from the lost team members who fell into the underground river currents was established and has been filed in 610-L6. The following field report, this is after L5, the following field report is for Class A or higher personnel only. Unauthorized viewing of this file is strictly prohibited and will be considered a violation of Foundation contracts and a breach of international law. 610-L6, exploration records of the operation source point, and it is redacted. So yeah. So they can use weapons.
They can also make traps.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see 610 get so intelligent. It's very terrifying and unnerving.
I'm pretty sure at some point it's gonna take the object class Apollyon.
Man, it grows that rapid and somewhere as cold as fucking Russia.
Yeah. Oh, there's one thing before we go to the thumbnail. I forgot its number, but the Jersey Devil SCP.
Yeah.
Apparently occultists, like, I forgot. Sarctic cultists, that's right. Made themselves into a 610 entity in front of the Jersey Devil, and the Jersey Devil immediately shown fear. And
wouldn't you?
Yeah, and literally said to the Foundation, "Hey, take me, but you can take me as long as you get rid of that."
That's valid, you know?
Yeah.
Would you want to deal with that?
No. So, I'm guessing other anomalies just decide to have I would rather be captured than counter this their mentality.
The ones who know that 610 exists, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, we should do the thumbnail. But there is one thing, I did see the thumbnail by accident, and it does rub me a bit the wrong way, and I can show you in a second as to why.
Is it gonna be a 4?
Okay, so here's a thumbnail. Go ahead and look at it. Alright, you got a good look at it?
Yeah, and I'm going to get myself some water.
Okay, I'll wait for you to get back.
That was definitely a floor. I will elaborate why I think so after I get water.
Yep. Alright. So, hello then, genitals. How is everyone in here? Is there anyone else in here? Are you enjoying the stream? I hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, and I'm so sorry for streaming later than usual. I'm gonna cancel.
Okay, I'm back.
Alright, you ready to see why it rubbed me the wrong way?
Yes. And
Alright,
then okay.
so, you know how the art of the original 610 got changed?
Yes.
So if I were to just go over here, does that look a bit familiar right in this picture over here?
Yes. But if you look at it, it doesn't look like the picture that the farm used. It looks like a cheap imitation
Yeah.
designed purposely different.
Yeah, that's what tipped me off the wrong way. it's...
If you look at the original, it's like the SCP is trying to imitate intelligence.
Yeah.
It's probably honestly the first sign we should have looked for in that it might get more intelligent in the future. Meanwhile, their version, it's not trying to imitate anything. There's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what rubbed me off the wrong way. But, are you ready?
Can you mark it 4 first?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mark it at 4.
Unless you think it should be a 3, but I think it's a 4.
Yeah, I think I'll go with 4 too.
Oh man.
Anyways.
SCP-610 has grown so much, which is not a good thing, but so cool to hear about.
Yeah, I already put no license given, copyrights the video, and clickbait thumbnail.
Oh geez. Well, I hope they don't earn anything, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Let's watch the video. It'll probably be the last one tonight since it's getting pretty late for me.
To make this last one. Okay, that's fine. Alright. And 3, 2, 1.
Wait, when was this video made? Just to see if they'll understand the updates.
June 4th, 2022.
Yeah, so they probably should know some updates, but not things like they make weapons and plot.
Alright. Alright. Ready?
Yeah.
Is he ready? Add power.
Why?
Employee DL2, Vladimir, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Petrenko. Where am I?
Excellent. You're at home at the SCP Foundation. How are you feeling?
Not really. My head is cracking. How did I end up here?
Add more. That's what we have to find out, Vladimir. Do you remember what happened a week ago? The 3rd of March.
Right, the 3rd of March. Olga had a birthday. I never had time to make a gift. On that day, you sent us to Site C. Us and, this, Smirnov.
That's right. DL1 and DL3 employees were with you. Tell me, what happened after you crossed the perimeter?
I remember we boarded a helicopter. It was not close to going. For Olga, that was her first experiment. And she was very worried. While we were flying, I decided to tell her about the L1 field log. Well, to distract, or prepare her, I guess. They sent Herbie there first. A robot with a camera. It was remotely controlled, and it let you watch what was happening in Site C. Herbie got to the settlement and drove into one of the buildings. There were infected people inside. We saw their pictures earlier. They didn't look much like humans anymore, just swollen pieces of flesh. Some of these monsters were moving. Someone was standing motionless. Herbie filmed 5 of them in the room. 1 big and 4 little ones. They didn't pay any attention to the robot.
I read it. They repeated it multiple times. It was pale tissue. Or the regular entities. Everything else was the red ones.
Yeah. You don't like how they got that wrong, dude.
No.
That's valid.
And then, the big monster started to place plates on the table. It was like getting ready for dinner. Then the outgrowths from his face began to reach for the plates, curl into rings, and separate. They fell into the plates, and the little monsters reached for the table. They grabbed the flesh of a large infected and stuffed it into their holes on their body.
Gross, Valadia.
That's not the point. You see, even though they are no longer people, they're behaving like people do.
But why didn't they pay attention to the robot?
No clue. But when Herbie left the house and went on, one of the small monsters grabbed him near the well. The video broadcast was immediately cut off.
That is not a
The
small
robot
monster.
never came back.
So they are dangerous after all. These SCP bastards
They
don't
don't know
value
what
our lives
looks
at
like
all.
to them.
We'll see.
No.
Bottom line, you stay close.
Red light! We're getting down! Get ready to drop.
That
Getting back in 50 minutes.
thinking on that like decayed version of like
Mhm.
decayed, bastardized, whatever you'd call it, reminding me of like what you just read and thinking of the
Mhm.
first incident with the robot.
Yeah.
They really had been getting ready to grow, hadn't they?
Yep.
It was like it was the older one feeding the younger ones and trying to get them smarter. God damn.
Yep. They made McCain proud.
Okay.
Anyways, let's keep going and see how bad they butcher it.
Good luck.
Pretty soon we got to Site C. It was strange, but it was very warm here. About 90 degrees Fahrenheit. After going a little further, we realized what was the matter. We came across creepy things.
9 degrees Fahrenheit warm.
Yeah, that's hot. Like 90
What?
degrees is... Oh, did it say 9 degrees or 90 degrees?
Yeah, 9.
That is not hot. What the fuck? And plus, it was supposed to be like...
Maybe I misheard it. You can rewind it. Maybe they said 90, but it sounded like 9.
When we got to Site C, it was strange, but it was very warm here. About 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
I don't think they said 90. I think they said 9.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Which is really close to freezing, if I think correctly.
Nine Fahrenheit would be negative 12 Celsius.
Damn.
Yeah, not so. It's not warm.
Nope.
Maybe it's warm for. Actually, I don't think that's even warm for the colder parts of Russia.
After going a little further, we realized what was the matter. We came across creepy things. Pylons of living flesh. It was even possible to distinguish the body parts of real people in them. These pylons emitted hot
That's
air from
not
different
how it works.
holes.
Yeah.
That is not how 610 works. I'm not bothered at all. Keep watching.
Apparently, this is how infected people create a comfortable atmosphere for themselves. And then Smirnov, it seemed, went
Why-
mad. He said he was too hot and had to take
Oh,
off some
and
of his
you know
warm
what?
clothes.
That went crazy for me.
Right,
Did it go that way for you too?
yeah, right, you want me to start right here?
Yeah.
Matter. We came across creepy things. Pylons of living flesh. It was even possible to distinguish the body parts of real people in them. These pylons emitted hot air from different holes. Apparently, this is how infected people create a comfortable atmosphere for themselves. And then Smirnov, it seemed, went mad. He said he was too hot and had to
That
take off
didn't
some of his
happen.
warm clothes, but it was too late.
No! You can't!
It
It's
did a
dangerous!
weird freeze then forward thing on me again. After it said the pylons release hot air.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Although I have to say, I don't think 610 said we're in the article about pylons that release hot air.
Yeah. But, they released like 87-degree like air through the eyes, the mouth, the anuses, any hole in the human body. But they didn't squeeze; it just was injected out the holes. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. All right, ready to continue?
Yeah.
And he's dead.
Smirnov took off his protective suit and
Oh yes, what the fuck? Reconnection successful. The hell is that for? Oh yes, what the fuck? Anyways.
Maybe OBS hates the farm content so much it fled.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, he said he took it off because he felt hot.
That makes no sense. If the area is hot, why would you undress in an infected area? If you're too hot to do your fucking work, go back. Don't undress during an area with a wide infection rate.
Yeah.
Between it's too hot and die if you undress, what are you gonna do? Probably go back. Or just grit and bear it. No one would ever be so stupid to go, you know what? It's too hot, so I'm going to get undressed and die now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine. Anyways, let's continue.
in such conditions. Olga and I saw his body was covered with flesh-like growths. He fell and started convulsing on the ground.
Let's get going. There's no way to help him.
Olga was right. Smirnov was losing his mind.
It doesn't
Stupid
go
old
that
man.
fast.
We grabbed his backpack and walked
It does
away.
not go that fast.
Turning at the intersection, I noticed something
Also, it doesn't
strange
look
ahead.
like random growths.
Yeah, I mean, you had the possibility of growing like 3 or more limbs and stuff like that, but it mainly just distorts and engorges your body. Or
Yeah.
elongates it. Stuff like that.
It can warp you, but it's slow. And, you know, it doesn't look like a bunch of bumps on your skin.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's keep on going.
There was a large sphere hanging above the well, and consisted of infected flesh. We came closer, and noticed some parts of the bodies of people and various animals.
Well.
The balloon was supported and pulsed slowly. With each spasm, spores flew out of its holes, and slowly settled to the ground.
Would you like to comment
What kind
on
of
the
shit is this,
quote-unquote well?
Vladya?
It's supposed to be a sphere suspended in the air.
Yeah, but they commented there was a well that apparently does not exist.
No, the well does exist. There was like a I think it was like, yeah, it was 7 creatures thrown in a circle. 6 of them held their hands together, while 1 didn't.
Well, they said there was a well, and then they're not showing a well, they're showing a sphere instead.
Yeah. Which appeared later. Which means they completely disregarded those creatures.
I think this is the source of the infection.
And what are we waiting for?
No.
With these words, Olga took off her backpack and took out a canister of gasoline. She started dousing the balloon.
Oh wait, the D-class are supposed to be here. This was the infected D-class part.
Yeah. Also, if I remember, this basically does jack shit.
Oh yeah, it basically just made everything worse.
Yeah.
And I realized what she was up to. I pulled a flare gun out of Smirnov's backpack. Olga threw away the empty canister, and we moved away.
Let's burn the beast down.
I fired, and the ball instantly burst into flames. At the same moment, we heard angry screams from all sides. Infected creatures reached out to us from all the cracks.
We need to get out of here. Fast!
Olga rushed to escape. I took one last look at the flaming ball and was ready to leave. But then there was an explosion. The ball shattered into pieces. The shockwave threw me to the ground. Everything was fuzzy. I saw Olga looking at me in fright.
Oh, not that, Vladya.
I saw that my protective suit was damaged. I quickly began to get covered with flesh-like growths.
Damn it! The infection got to me! Olga! Help me, please!
But she only backed away in terror. Everything went dark. The last thing I saw, falling into the darkness.
What happened then, Vladimir?
Damn it!
Give him another shot. Fast!
What?
Do you hear me? Look at me!
Damn it! What's the matter with me?
Don't get distracted. What happened after the explosion?
And why am I in the cell for infected objects?
Employee DL2, continue the story.
After the explosion, then there was darkness.
When I came to, I didn't even realize where I was. But then a woman came into the room. She said her name was Maria.
You were injured. Badly. But it's all right now.
Where am I?
In the village. Don't worry. No harm is meant to you here.
What?
Maria brought me a hot drink. As I drank it, I felt completely healthy.
Get up. We're gonna have lunch now.
She left, and I
What?
jumped up and looked out the window. A village.
The fuck?
Clean and cozy. Like a picture.
Oh my god.
How long have I been out?
Oh, there you are. Have a seat. Our food is simple, rustic, but everything is its own, natural. Children, go to the table.
Why do I feel
Strangely,
like
this
is racist
situation
against
seemed
Russia?
painfully familiar to me.
I don't know. But I think what they're going for is basically 610 warped his mental warped him mentally, and everything he's seeing is actually the underground village.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would make more sense.
Mm-hmm. Meaning the stuff on that plate is flesh.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
let's find out if that's what they're going for. That would actually be cool.
yeah. Alright. Let's see.
me. I've seen it somewhere before. I tasted what Maria had given me. And damn it, I do not know what it was, but I have never tasted anything tastier in my life. And suddenly, at that moment, I felt happy. I don't remember when I was so calm. Outside the village was even more fascinating. Neat, well-maintained houses, bright greenery, and smiling people. It seemed to me that I was in heaven. Near the well, I saw a boy who was playing with some strange thing.
Yep.
And I came closer to watch it. It was something mechanical and ugly. It didn't fit into the ideal setting of the village at all. Where did you get this?
It came by itself. Now it's my toy. The Elder says the monsters sent it here.
Monsters? What are you talking about?
He's talking about the enemies that have been attacking our village lately.
I turned around and saw a tall, thin old man. He said his name was Ivan, and he was the elder of this village. We talked for a while, and Ivan told us about this amazing place.
A new life awaits you here. That's what you wanted so badly. We would all be glad if you stay with us.
I saw only kind smiles around. Maria extended her hand to me, and well, I couldn't refuse. I stayed in the village.
I think
it was the
called
happiest few days of my life.
You
I felt like I found my safe haven. Suddenly, one day, evil came to us. The church's bell was alarmingly bursting. Hey, what's going on?
Monsters! They're walking towards the village!
I couldn't stay away. After all, this is my home now too. Once outside the village, I saw them. The boy was right. They were really monsters. Disgusting creatures were hobbling towards us. Once very close, they began to spit fire. But we rebuffed them. I was ready to fight to the end. But then something happened. A flash in my head. And I began to see everything in a different way. It's like taking off a VR headset. And it was a completely different world. Instead of monsters, I saw the SCP soldiers with flamethrowers. I turned around and was horrified to find that they were pushing back the crowd of infected. We were in a big gloomy cave, no bright world around. I got in the way and didn't have time to do anything. They grabbed me.
Thank you, DL2 employee. I know the follow-up story.
What's wrong with me?
Don't you get it yet, Vladimir? You're not human.
What? No! No way! What a... This can't be happening!
While you were away, we found
they can talk.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you think about it, if the neck gets elongated, I'm pretty sure the voice box isn't gonna be all that great. Should we add added violence and gore? I mean, so far, some things have happened, but like the guy.
I don't think there's any added violence despite the changes.
Yeah.
They've totally changed the plot at this point and how the SCP works, but there's no added violence.
What do you
But you could add added violence with the mental violence they've added, because they've added a weird amount of mental hellscape that does not exist in the SCP, which is saying something, because it's 610.
Yeah, so added violence comes for any form of violence, so I guess we'll click that. And I guess gore is just...
That's true. If you're going for a mental sort of violence, which they have done, then it would be 4.
Yeah, and gore, I think it hasn't got as gory, despite being 610.
Yeah. But the mental thing, they definitely went past.
Yeah.
A way to temporarily restore consciousness to the infected. All we needed was a test subject, and it happened to be you.
But why do you need me?
You have to help. We need to deliver a nuclear device to this village.
Will you destroy them? But they were human once.
You always have to sacrifice something, Vladimir.
No, I won't do it.
You're still an employee of the SCP Foundation. You will be eliminated for insubordination.
They are adding a
Look
weird
at
amount
me.
of violence.
Do you think my
Yeah.
life's worth living?
Olya, you got out?
Hello, Volodya. Yeah, I was lucky. I'm sorry I left you there. But you know, there was no way to save you.
I regret only one thing. That I didn't have time to give you a birthday present.
You can still do it. Then, I'm being sent to Site C. Petrenko left me no choice.
What? Don't tell me you're going to carry that damn bomb! Bastards! Fine, okay, tell her I agree. I'll go with you.
Is that enough to blow the hell out of there?
That's right. This baby won't leave a stone unturned.
That would not work on 610.
Yeah.
Well, employee DL2, I'm glad you've come to your senses. Your task is to take the group to the village.
I've set up a
Why
remote
wouldn't they
detonator.
have
If
him
something
in
happens to
anything
us,
keeping him from infecting others?
Right. We don't know.
you can
At this
activate the
point, they
bomb.
would have already known that it had become fungal in type, not just a regular infection. They would
Yeah.
all be infected.
Yep.
Here.
Thank you, Oleg. We will be in touch.
What? You can blow this shit up at any time?
What the hell, Olga? You want to kill us?
No, I'm not carrying it. This is insane.
Employee DL1, follow the order!
Don't touch me!
If you don't calm down, I'll lock you in a cell with Keter.
Listen, Olya, you have to do it. Everything will be fine. Trust me.
Damn you!
While we were walking through the caves, Olga couldn't calm down for a long time.
Damn it! Where they're disposable. They finished me in one of these experiments.
There will be no next experiment. I'll take care of it.
Do you think they'll let us go? However, if we all die here, then no doubt.
We entered the village.
Quiet, we're here.
In reality, it was not the way I saw it the first time. Creepy, skewed houses and dirt. But why do infected people see reality differently from what it really is? Or maybe it's the other way around. This is an illusion, and the place from where I was pulled out of is the real world. I pushed these thoughts away.
No.
We turned onto a roundabout road that would take us to the middle of the village, and where we could be invisible. Suddenly, a small figure appeared right in front of the soldiers. The infected being held the remains of the robot and looked at us. It was that boy. And then he made a shrill sound. From all sides, waddling figures immediately reached out to all of us.
Volodya, I'm scared.
Stay close.
Ekaterina, they found us. But we haven't finished the mission.
Captain, get out of there. I'm activating the device remotely.
Copy that. Retreat.
The SCP soldiers chased away the infected beings with flamethrowers. Suddenly, a tall, thin figure blocked their way. The monster was clutching a scythe in one of the...
That's wrong. There was a good portion of his body that didn't show infection.
Yeah, but they're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
limbs. Fire flashes did not frighten him, and he, waving his scythe, went to the soldiers. It seems, looked straight into my eyes. I heard a voice inside myself.
You are here again!
It was Ivan. That's what he really looked like.
Stop! Go away! You betrayed us!
No, Ivan, I saved everyone here.
We're surrounded! We're trapped!
I'm sorry, Oleg, but I can't let this whole mission fail. Goodbye, Captain Kramtsov.
No! Ekaterina! Don't do this!
Oh yeah, I didn't have time to give you a gift.
What? What are you talking about?
Happy birthday, Olya.
Where's the bomb?
What the?
Surprise, bitch!
You know, this may be totally inaccurate. to
Hello,
610,
neighbor.
But I still like this video in a sense. Just as much as I hate it.
I mean, if it wasn't an SCP-610 video, it could be like an interesting horror video.
Yeah, if it wasn't 610, this would be totally awesome. If it wasn't 610.
Yeah, but it was 610, so it got they took it in a bad way.
Yeah.
We still got some bit left.
Ah, Oleg. Well, have you settled in?
Yes, thanks. Come to the housewarming party.
Will do. My wife will be happy.
Who are you talking to?
Oleg is calling us to a housewarming party.
Great. Quit your job. Let's go get lunch.
Don't you remember that tomorrow is the anniversary of the first time we saw each other?
You never forget.
I've got a present for you.
I didn't know I'd still be saying 4 for added violence because the mental torture and hellscape it added is somehow 4. It didn't add any gore or extra physical violence, but the mental is 4.
Yeah, and they pretty much removed all the characters.
Yeah, they removed all the characters.
Deviates from the plot of the article.
4.
It had 2 parts, but it disrupted and changed them.
Yeah.
Only minute of video / offensiveness.
Was it offensive? The only part that felt slightly offensive we realized was the illusions affected.
Yeah.
I think that's a 0.
For once, yeah. So that means that's a 20%. The highest one for tonight.
Oh.
So far, they're going worse than Professor Lucius, because at least Professor Lucius had one that was 50.
Yeah, Lucius had one that was 50, a few that was 45.
Yeah.
Some that were 30 and 35. You're lucky to get 30.
We didn't think it would be possible to be worse than Professor Lucius.
Yeah.